hurricanes, elections, job changes. It's all about change. Change is on the way. Or you can keep your change. Or can you? Let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and my main man,
JC.
John Coleman.
Yo, what's poppin'?
JC, this is episode like 480 something.
481.
And it's the first episode in what I'll call Studio V3.
Yeah, the final studio, Dustin.
This is the final studio.
I ain't setting this shit up again.
We are at the Exchange Building, downtown Orlando. We went from originally overlooking the Orlando skyline to moving even further into the suburbs, into Lake Mary, Florida.
Yeah, and they said, fuck that. And then we came, all the way to downtown in the heart of the city.
In the heart of the city. You know what's crazy about this building that we're in is when I was a teenager, right, I would be dropped off by my parents or my friends' parents at the Exchange.
Yep.
With my 2 or 3 buddies, and we thought we were cool as shit.
You were.
Like this was like cooler than going to the mall, and you could hang out because the Exchange is a 3-story building.
Yeah.
And there's like shops and food courts on the first 2 floors, and then the 3rd floor was a big ass arcade.
Yeah, where we are now.
Where we are now, we are in the arcade where the arcade used to be.
How much of it did they keep? Like, are the stairs and the old shit, like the tiles, is that like from your heyday as a child, or was that renovated?
I mean, dude, you're going back now 30 years. So, yeah, I mean, obviously the elevators, the floors, the railing, I mean, the bones, the structure is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
But no, it hasn't been the Exchange for probably a good decade, if not a decade and a half.
Don't worry, we're bringing it back. We're going to get a T-Lop sign on the top of this bitch by the time we're done with it.
Yeah, well, it changed, right? That's what we're going to talk about today.
Exchange, change.
Yes, you can keep your change.
Keep it. Well, give it to me.
We're going to talk about change today, and what change means to you, what change means to us, because change is not necessarily a negative thing, although I think too many people hear the word change like, oh, who moved my cheese?
Right.
Whether you're changing your job, you're changing the weather, we have a change in the political environment coming up, we have a change in interest rate, then they changed back. There's a change in the attitude. And my one biggest beef in general when it comes to change is like, someone's like, oh, did you hear? John changed jobs. Is everything all right? I'm like, fuck yeah, everything is all right.
Yeah,
like, high five, John. Like, why does
better.
change have to be a bad thing? Climate change. Is it changing for the better or changing for the worse? Well, we hear that and just automatically assume, let's get into a debate. Is it really changing? Is it changing for the better? Is it changing for the worse? Or maybe someone's just being observant, like I am in Florida, saying, well, the first 20 years that I lived in Central Florida, I have zero memories of having to truly prepare and dodge serious hurricanes. The last 20 years, I have nothing but just jam-packed memories of power outages and trees being down and flooding that has happened from hurricanes. So there is a change that took place, and I would think that somebody would probably agree with me that's not a good change. Now, what I don't know is that really a change? Or if I opened up that time horizon away from 40 years, that's my lifespan is 40 years, and let's say I went 400 years or 4,000 years, maybe there's a pattern there. Like, no, dipshit. Like, no, every 25 to 30 years, the cycle repositions itself. For every 100 years.
Time is a
and it
circle.
just so happened that in 2004, that was when we hit the next 100-year mark. So yes, the next 100 years are going to look like this, but the 100 years after that, if history rhymes, because it doesn't repeat itself, history rhymes, then it's going to sound a lot like maybe the time frame from 1904 to 2004, and then from 2004 to 2104, it's going to look like this, right? So this is what we're dealing with right now. By the time this airs, I have no idea. We're recording this. We know that Hurricane Milton is on its way. Like, think about this. I want to live in St. Pete Beach.
I want to too.
But do I want to live on stilts 10 feet in the air?
None,
Because this storm surge is going to come in at 9 feet, predicted. The last storm, Hurricane Helene, that did catastrophic damage. Well, shout out to our friends up in the Carolinas, because that was an unexpected for them, colossal just crushing of Hurricane Helene. But even our friends down in St. Pete Beach in St. Petersburg, Florida, were crushed with 6 feet of storm surge. They're talking 9 feet. So does that mean that's a change we're going to have to make? What about insurance? Homeowners insurance. What's that going to do? Like how it's already tripled over the past, 5 years.
Yeah, what is it going to do now?
Double again? Triple again?
It's going to price people out of the market forever.
It's going to price people out of the market, but then there's going to be a change that occurs. Do you think then home sales would go down, which at that point would home values go down? But it's not going to make home ownership any more affordable in that market, because if we decreased, think about this. If we decreased a purchase price by $100,000 on a home, you're talking $600 a month. But if insurance goes up by $6,000, that's $500 a month. So the affordability aspect, it doesn't become more affordable. Or is one going to say the change that needs to occur in order to make affordability no worse than it is prices will have to come down in those certain markets. So does like living on the coast now all of a sudden become less desirable? Does living in an area that is, in a flood prone area, that doesn't have to be coastal, right? That could be the Mississippi Delta.
Right.
That could be parts of the Midwest. How about living in California with wildfires? How about being up in Iowa with tornadoes? Are certain areas going to be less desirable? At which point are we all going to end up in Carmel, Indiana, which is like the one place you can still find a house for $130,000?
I mean, probably now, not anymore since you fucking told them where it is.
Hey, shout out to Ross Woods. Hey, Coach Ross
Coach
is in
Ross.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Hey, Ross, we're all going to come live with you, homie.
So is there any, so I know it's bad to talk about, but like, let's say after like a hurricane or like a catastrophic event, roofing companies tend to like, there's an opportunity for them. Is there any kind of opportunity for loan officers or like people in the real estate space, aside from like buying up like dilapidated or like, broken down places? Are there any opportunities after a disaster for loan officers to come in and like make an impact?
Yes. And I should know this off the top of my head because I've originated loans and run mortgage operations in the great state of Florida for 15 now,
Take
going
your
on
time.
20 years.
Try to remember. I'll edit it
I will
in.
not try to remember. I can pull out my phone and look it up. You want me to do that real quick?
No. Just keep.
You know how slow I type?
Yes.
And I always, my fat
You'll
thumb
get
it.
frustrated and be like, "What's my passcode again?" And they start yelling at your fucking phone, and then
Throw it.
It's over there. It's out of your. You can't reach it.
I can't. You see me reaching in my pockets right now, don't you?
Yeah.
So there is a loan program through HUD, right? So think HUD, think FHA, think FHA 203Ks, renovation lending, all of that. But there is a certain loan program that when you have a area that was deemed a FEMA disaster area, that it offers special financing for those areas. And I had a branch, shout out to Beth Cherry. Beth's like a big sister to me. We worked together for 15 years. But Beth runs a branch in Fort Myers, Florida. And Fort Myers got absolutely decimated 4 years ago, maybe. I mean, to the point to where like we joke about it today. Beth owned 2 homes in Fort Myers Beach. The one that she lived in, the one that she used to live in. The one that she used to live in, she rented out. The one that she lived in, well, she lived in it. The one that she used to live in, it washed away. The entire house. Like to where when she was filing her insurance claim, the insurance adjuster was like, hey, send me a picture.
I'm like, I can't do that, sir.
And she sent a picture. She was, yeah, but where's the house? She's like, exactly. Like no house. And it was devastating. It was probably one of the scariest moments of Beth's life. It's why we should all evacuate when people say to evacuate. She did evacuate, by the way, if you ever want to know the true Beth story. And she went inland. And it still, she said, was one of the scariest nights of her life living through that hurricane, which I can never remember the hurricane names because there's been so many. But there is a loan program and a loan product. So like to my friends in Greenville, South Carolina, or the people in Boone, North Carolina, or Asheville, or the Carolinas, like yes, you will rebuild. You will build back better. Change is on the way. And there are loan programs out there through HUD outside of the 203K, outside of like home style renovation loans. There's actually specialized financing for this specific areas. So if you're a loan originator in Florida, then yeah, I mean, this is a loan product that you're going to want to get to know. And you're going to want to need to offer. So if you don't currently offer it, you need to go find an investor that you can sell to. If you can't sell it to them, then you need to find an investor you can broker it to. And this product is one in which I wish I could remember off the top of my head, but I can't. So don't, shame me for it, please. Yeah. So that's a good question. So that is going to be an opportunity. Here's also an opportunity. Not everyone knows this part about my story. Like I talk about, look, come from an amazing family, awesome mom and dad. They're still an awesome mom and dad. That's how fortunate I am, right? My parents are in their 70s. They're still madly in love. They still travel the country, and they still just love on me and my sister and our kids. But we grew up, lower middle class, nice working class neighborhood. Mom drove a school bus, dad's an electrician. So much of what I wanted for my kids is everything my parents gave me, but everything they didn't. And what I didn't get was advice on business, advice on marketing, advice on wealth generation principles and practices. Like, just, it wasn't taught at my household, wasn't taught in my high school or even in college. Therefore, I want to make sure we use our platform to do that. And it's what I did as an originator. It's where I found my passion for this industry. So, part of my story also is I was 2004 when I got into the industry. I left a job in TV advertising where that year I was probably going to make, I don't know, let's just say $72,000 to $84,000, which at 24, 25 years old.
That's great.
In 2004, I was like, hell yeah, like I'm doing it. I'm, winning some awards. I'm being recognized, but I hated it. I hated selling local TV advertising. I loved national TV advertising, not local, two different things. And I'm living in Orlando. I'm busting my butt. I'm making my sales calls, my coffee appointments. I'm trying to dominate the ones. I'm doing the 12-week challenge, all the things we coach through the TLOP MLO coaching community, all the things that the men and women who sign up for LO Launch go through. They go through because I did it and it worked. Pretty simple, right? And it still works today. And I know it works because I've put 36 rookies that I've personally hired through it. And now we're on our 6th LO Launch class, where some of our students are now funding $3-4 million a month. They're making $20,000, $30,000 a month. Some people are hitting that $200,000, $300,000 annual income check mark already in their career, and they're only 2 or 3 years in. So, but part of it was in 2004, if you studied weather patterns in Central Florida, we had 3 hurricanes come through. It was like Charlie, Francis, and Irma or something like that. Charlie was the first one that I remember. And it was as all shocking and devastating to Central Florida as what they're experiencing in the Carolinas. Because the Carolinas had never experienced this before. Well, prior to 2004, honestly, Central Florida didn't either. Like, I knew men and women that were living in their office buildings because it was 6 weeks, they still had no power. They were going to the gym to shower type thing. Well, something that I did, I hauled FEMA debris. So me and 2 buddies went out. One dude owned a truck. We bought a trailer. We bought probably like 8 sheets of plywood and stood them up because plywood's 4 feet by 8 feet. So we stood them up on the 8-foot side so we could make big 8-foot walls. And one of my buddies was a cop, and one of his buddies who was also a cop had a contract with FEMA, and he kind of got us in the door of FEMA. But we did manual labor debris pickup because all we had to do is be assigned a neighborhood, drive our truck and trailer around, hand load, because we weren't smart enough or financially savvy enough to go out and like purchase a skid steer or a bobcat. We hand loaded it, and then based on your cubic yard, FEMA would give you a receipt for how much they owed you. And when you're looking for opportunities, there's some people out there that own a landscaping business. There's people out there that maybe do home remodels. There's people out there that whatever they do, maybe they're in travel and tourism, and that's going to be wrecked in certain markets until things get reopened. That I'm going to tell you, there's going to be opportunity for you to get paid to do storm cleanup if you're willing to do a little manual labor. Now, me being the opportunist, I've already been on the phone with my partner, Brooke. My partner, Brooke's my partner in a real estate investment company. So we've had this LLC for 5 years. We have contractors and GCs. We have the proper licensing and insurance required. I'm like, Brooke, and Brooke owns a nice truck. I said, Brooke, what if I could tell you a way for us to pivot, raise a bunch of money to purchase real estate, pay off your truck, and because we also have some teammates, right? Cameron and Alex are teammates of ours, and put a bunch of money in Cameron and Alex's pockets. He's like, what are you talking about? I go, dude, right now we're going to be slow. Like, we're not going to be buying and selling a whole lot of homes the next 2 or 3 weeks because of the hurricane. Let's figure out where to find a trailer, where to find a bobcat, right? The business has credit, so we should be able to finance the bobcat, finance the trailer. Let's figure out who at FEMA we need to talk to make sure that we get our credentials in and we get approved to do this cleanup, because we may be able to keep a crew going 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, with the truck, the trailer, the Bobcat, and just raking it in, which is ultimately going to be our way to raise capital to go out and purchase a bunch of rental properties. So like there are opportunities out there. There's opportunities because somebody owns that home free and clear. Maybe it was bequeathed to them by, a distant relative. The home needed updating to begin with, and the taxes on it were getting a little bit expensive. And now that it has water damage 5 feet up the walls, they just want to unload it. They're going to get insurance to give them what they can get. Then they're going to turn around and sell it for whatever they can sell it for and be out of it. And there's definitely people out there, whether you're looking to purchase your own vacation home, an Airbnb, a rental property, or you think you want to get into fix and flip, those opportunities are definitely going to present themselves. Just make sure when you do it, you're a good human. That's probably my biggest advice. Like even to my kids, I say it to my wife all the time. I said, honey, you did a phenomenal job with our kids. She's like, oh, I don't know. This one does this and this one does that. And I worry about, I'm like, we have two good humans. Like they're good humans. At almost 17 and almost 20, I can look at them and be like, damn, you're good humans. So what I ask of anyone that works with me, works for me, or I work for, it's like, are you a good human? So if you're out there looking for these opportunities, just make sure you're doing so by also being a good human, because you can be a business person and you can make money and you can be an opportunist without also scamming, taking advantage of, etc.
Well said, but false. That's not how the real world works. There will be scammers out there galore.
There will be, and be on the lookout for them. It just sickens me. Like it absolutely. I would treat a 100% a scam artist. I would treat maybe 2 steps below a rapist, and maybe 5 steps above anyone who's incarcerated for drugs.
Drugs,
right?
okay.
Like if you're locked up because of drugs, especially drug use. Now drug dealing, it's like how much, what type?
Couple tons.
Yeah, like that's a different story, and the type of crime you committed to acquire those drugs.
We need scam artists, so when they eventually get caught and get 15 years by the feds, we flip them, and then they teach us all of their inside secrets, so we get the leg up on the next wave of scammers, and that's how it works, Dustin.
Sounds like you've seen Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio.
I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh, you need to watch that movie, John.
Well, it looks like we'll have time. Make sure I download on the iPad. I honestly think I'm not going to lose power. In my mind.
What world do you live in?
The world of John Coleman's mind. I honestly think
Wow.
You don't think? Do you have a generator? You got how many? Got?
Yes, I have a generator. Now here's a funny story about me and my generator.
How many do you have? You have more than one.
Well, I don't know. That's a trick question. That is a trick question.
Oh my God.
It's a trick question.
You're going to have this. I can already answer. You have a generator. No, I have to have one for like the electronics in the house, like the Xbox and the PlayStation and the laptop. Then I have the other generator to like power like the perishables, like the freezer. So, I'm set.
Okay. No. I'm not that guy. Now, I want to be that guy. I would love to be that guy, and I'm aspiring, right? Because I got to change. And change doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't. That's the whole, like, why do I love James Clear Atomic Habits? 1% better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I do things with Special Olympics of Florida.
Yeah.
And they have the Special Olympians embrace 1% better. Right. We have orange shirts. In fact, I should rock one of mine.
You should.
At one of the next podcast episodes. Yeah. But it's all about being 1% better.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not there because I haven't fully evolved yet as an adult, as a man. I'm getting there though.
Right.
The reason why I have 2 generators is one is a tailgating generator. It's tiny. It's like pocket sized. Okay, this thing is like smaller than your briefcase.
Does it run on gasoline or is it electric?
No, it creates electricity, which means it's run on gas.
No, but there's electric generators too that you charge up.
I was today years old. No.
Better go on Amazon
so
Prime.
Anyhow, that one, the wattage, the voltage, whatever it pulls, all the stuff I should know, but I don't.
Let me get that one.
What are you going to do with that?
What does it power, Mr. Tailgate?
What are you going to do?
What does it power? Your gas grill? What does it power, Dustin?
It powers a fan. It powers a block rocker. And it charges an iPhone. That's what I use it for. And possibly a TV. Oh,
and possibly. So it sounds
like those are 4 things that I can run off my little Honda pocket-sized gas generator. And then my other generator.
Yeah, the Generac, the 18,000. What are we talking?
Wait a minute. So Generac. So Generac and Honda.
okay.
Yes, okay. So someone said, "Hey, Dustin, what size is your generator?
Oh God!
And y'all, if you're not watching this on YouTube, then you can't see it. Okay, so if you're on Spotify or Apple, I'll say thank you. But look, if you're on Spotify and Apple, after you've given us a 5-star review, go ahead and go to YouTube and at least subscribe so you can watch us from time to time. But if you're watching, then you can see me do this. All right, so someone's like, what size is your generator? I'm like, I don't know, it's about this big, right? And I was like depicting a box that's somewhere around 40 inches by 30 inches. I think they're trying to ask me, like, is it a 2800 or a 4800?
Oh, how many cc's, cube, whatever thing,
I think
horsepower.
it's about watts. How many watts can it, because you can pull, because like when you turn something on, it pulls a lot of wattage. Yeah. But then it takes less to run and maintain. And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, they're like, well, what kind is it? I'm like, it's orange. Like, what do you? I'm like, what kind is it? Generac? Is it Honda? I don't know. It's orange and it's about this big. Okay. So by the next hurricane, John, my promise to you and everyone who's tuned in, by this they're probably tuned out.
Yeah, it's fine.
That is fine. I'm having too much fun today.
Yeah, it's fine.
And plus, like, look, let's face what we're dealing with. John and I have a 150 mile per hour hurricane getting ready to hit our friends in Tampa while it makes its way to us in Orlando.
You think I give a shit about you think I give a shit about inspiring your ass and fucking talking about interest rates? Not today.
And then I just drove my happy ass to Gainesville, Florida with my wife, my sister, and my daughter, which, by the way, had an amazing time.
Sounds like a punishment to me, Dustin.
And we got shellacked. University of Central Florida. Got shellacked. We're not good. You heard it here. I'm finally saying
Malzahn's last season.
We are not good. And we talked about options. Well, there's too many times that we have a run pass option. It's called RPO. But when you can't pass,
you got to run.
You got no options. Yeah, you got no options in life. We need options, right? We can't run those plays. So yeah, so just deal with what I'm dealing with. Devastating. It wasn't devastating, honestly, but I hate losing.
Hold on. So anyway, go back.
You lose to the Gators. Generator. We got a hurricane. Back to the generator. Okay.
Orange generator. They said, how much wattage are you sucking out of that thing? You said, I don't know, 30 carbs. And then they said, how big?
I have no idea. I have to go look. It's whatever. I didn't even know. Like, oh, how many gallons of gas does it hold? I'm like, don't know. Like, have you ever used it? I'm like, I've owned it for 5 years. I've used it 6 times.
I told Mark you got LO coaching this Thursday, and you fully anticipate working. What are you going to charge up your laptop and just what?
No, we're pushing the coaching calls to Friday.
Oh, well, that should be fine.
We're pushing because here's what I will do. My orange generator, which by the way is a Generac, I've learned that by now.
Hold on,
that's about this size.
Did they deliver it? Because you had to buy it.
I bought it like 5 years ago. I've used it at least 7 times, but I don't remember this shit. Like none of this. It's kind of like you not being in science class. Like I just don't.
I love.
You know, it excites my dad. It excites my father-in-law. Yeah. Excites many of my buddies who are also my neighbors. Right? Like they get excited about that shit. I get excited about how people work and how businesses work. Right? You know that about me.
I do.
I get super geeked out, getting excited, and no, I don't get excited about. I hang one ceiling fan a decade just so that I can prove to myself and my wife that I still got it. My father is an electrician. I know how to do this shit. I worked at Home Depot for 3 years in the lumber department, then building materials. Like I know a thing or two about hardware and tools. I know how to use them. I took shop class. Yeah. I've built tables. You know what I like doing? Yard work and painting. Like I'll do that.
Like Peyton Manning.
Like I love that commercial. It's a phenomenal commercial. So you don't have a generator. I have 2. One is my tailgating generator, and one is here's how I'll use it. I'll be able to plug in one refrigerator.
Oh, because how many refrigerators do you have, Dustin?
3.
Oh my God.
Well, one's the mini fridge outdoor that's outside by the pool.
You see where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen.
One's a used old refrigerator that we keep in the garage.
For what, like raw fish when you go deep sea fishing?
It's like the 4 times a year that we have the entire family over and you need 2 refrigerators. It's for that. And it's for keeping all the stuff that like I don't want to keep in my main fridge, like beer, sangria, soda, things that I don't drink daily. So that's also out of sight, out of mind, John. So it goes there. And the one outdoor, we sometimes don't even plug in because there's no need to pull that wattage, and it's outside. So only when we're having parties.
Real talk, I might just stay here in the new office. Speaking of change, I might just pull up here.
You should. Y'all did a good job of rebuilding this.
Mark, shout out Mark.
What did you do about those panels?
Nothing. I figured it out in my own brain. I think people will end on this note. Speaking of change, I'm tired of people.
Wait, we're done talking about the generators and you not having one?
You having two? I'll probably find one in your backseat of your truck.
Are you gonna invite your mom over to my house?
I am tired.
Are you gonna let your mom meet me?
No, never.
You hide me from your mom.
Separation of church and state.
You hide me.
No,
from
my
your
mom's seen you on the internet. She's like, wow, that man sure can talk. I'm like, yes, mom, he sure can. That's what she said. That man can talk. I'm like, yes, mom, he does. I'm tired of people always looking to like learn something. If they need to do something, right? What's the first thing you do if you've never done it? You go look it up on the internet to see how to do it. I'm sick of people. That's why people are soft and they can't do shit. If you want to do something you've never done it, if you've never done it, just try it and fail again, and that's the best way to learn.
So that's your game plan with this hurricane. You're going in totally unprepared.
No.
So the next time you'll be more prepared.
This goes to the wall panels. Like, how did I get them to stick? Because I could have gone to the internet. I could have asked ChatGPT or Claude. Why the wall panels not sticking? But then I just used deductive reasoning because I did go to college for 4 years. Thank you very much.
Only 4?
University of Tampa, RIP. But then I just realized, like, oh, it's oil-based paint. Paint that you use oil for is what you put in kitchens and bathrooms so they're easily to clean. But that also means things won't readily stick to them. However, if you have a matte or like eggshell-based paint, things adhere to them much more nicely.
So did you taste this paint to know that it's not oil-based?
No,
or
I just looked at it because you can tell it's eggshell versus polish.
Okay, and the old studio was
oil-based paint.
Get out of town.
And that's how I was like, oh, that's why it falls off. I didn't go to the internet for that. Just like you guys shouldn't go to the internet when you have a problem. You should look deep down inside of your soul and answer it yourself.
Nah, bitch, I'm going to the internet.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today. His name is Dustin Owen. My name is John Coleman.
What are we going to call this one? The Lost Episode?
No, we're going to call it The Last Episode because this building might not be here by the time we get back.
All right. Well, yeah, and you can't even pray for us for those that like to pray because by the time you hear this, we're going to be
you'll know. You'll know because this drops next Friday. So,
you think so?
Oh, shit. We'll have electricity in Ohio.
Yeah, that's right. Shout out. So John and I will be
I don't think the airport's going to be open Sunday.
Okay.
Do you think so?
So when this drops, it's going to be Friday. So check this out. When this episode drops, if you made it this far, we probably didn't. But if you did, I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina right now.
Oh, wow. You said for the plug. You're going to plug? Yes.
I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. No, for the Ironman 70.3.
Oh, they didn't cancel that?
No, and it's looking like Wilmington's going to be...
free and clear?
Yeah. Yeah, like they had to cancel the Augusta 70.3 because of Hurricane Helene. Mm-hmm. And friends of mine went and did the Chattanooga full Ironman, and they canceled the swim, which is like my worst nightmare for signing up and training for a full Ironman. And then like, oh, but you can't swim. Well, then I'm not an Ironman.
That's
like,
true.
you know, then I'm not an Ironman. Why'd I dedicate 2 years of my life training for this fucking race? And you're going to cancel the swim?
Change is good, Dustin.
But they had to cancel the swim in Chattanooga because of all of the storm water. It made the river not safe to swim in. And they had to cancel Augusta because the city was unfortunately just wrecked from Hurricane Helene. I was worried that the Wilmington race was going to be canceled, but I looked up the weather forecast in Wilmington and it looks like it's just sunny skies from here for the next 2 weeks.
Well, it's sunny.
So by the time this drops, John, then I'm T-minus 24 hours from race day, and I'll be competing and hopefully completing my third Ironman 70.3, also known as a half Ironman.
And then you get the medal that you paid $75 for. That's your registration fee.
I think it was probably like more $300.
What the? Where does that money go? Charity for people hanging out?
It's a big ass event. It's a big. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know.
I got to get you a T-Lot bib so you can run with the T-Lot.
Yeah, you may be too late. I want a kit. I want to actually. This is what I want for Christmas. My birthday's in November.
You hate gifts.
Christmas
so this must mean
is
a lot.
in December. Okay, I want a kit. Okay, a tri kit that I want it to be like T-Lop logo on the front. I want it to be like lower.com down the legs and like right across my ass. I want it to say the shit they don't teach the shit they don't teach in school.
We can make that happen. Dustin.
And then we can maybe do it like light gray with like the orange in the front and then like do the lower.com blue down the legs.
That looks.
For anyone who's tuning in, that is like the kit I would
You'd
like.
rock.
Yeah. Well, all right. So on that note, John.
Yes.
This is the episode that never happened.
This is the first episode in the new studio, which also could be the last episode ever if this, apparently just cuts Florida in half. But we'll let you know next week.
Yeah, keep tuning in.
Yeah, keep tuning in because if shit stops after 481, you know what happened.
Very good. Hey, he's John Coleman. I'm Dustin. And thank you for coming to hang out with us. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on the next episode. Peace.